Okay, testing, 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 testing. Come on, testing. Please work. I've got all my audio settings cranked right up, but let me know if you've got any problems hearing me, if I need to speak up. Yeah, hi guys, Jackie M here again. This is frustrating. I'm using two different internet services. I'm using the super fast one for my live streaming, which is fine. Okay. But if you've got any problems hearing me, let me know. And I am streaming, right? I'm nearly there. Yeah. This is what I'm using up today. I've dug this out of my freezer, and they are scampi. And I don't really know how to cook scampi, to be honest. It was on sale, and it seemed fascinating to me. And I asked the fish shop for suggestions. It was an Asian fish shop, and they didn't really have much as either. Basically, what they're saying. Hang on, let me just mute that. Yeah. So basically, they said, because I've bought scampi in the past again just for experimenting, and it was a little bit of a letdown because it turns out there's not a whole lot of meat in it. For something that you pay like double the price of prawns for, you would expect a lot more bang for your buck, essentially. But it's got very, very like hard shell, and it's got a big head where most of the weight is carried, but like so it's contingent on you being like brave enough to eat the head, right? But I don't remember what I did with it the last time, but I was a bit disappointed. But this time around it was on sale. It was like on half price or something, probably because it wasn't like, fresh out of the sea or whatever. But I bought the lot, and I was told by the shop owner that scampi essentially has more sweetness in the flesh than regular prawns. So I thought, well, let's just give it another go. So it's been sitting in my fridge for a few weeks now, and I've just now finally decided to use it up. In all honesty, like my freezer is so full that I dug out what I thought was a bag of crab, and it turned out to be scampi. So I figured, well, I have to use it at some point anyway, so I might as well. So first thing I want to get out of the way, if you saw my broadcast a couple of nights ago, I basically cut up a chicken, deboned the chicken. So this is the leftover. This is the carcass from the chicken I cut up a couple of nights ago, and I'm going to cook it up now. It's going in my pressure cooker. So you can see it here. It's got a fair bit of meat on the bones because I didn't have a very good knife. Plus, I'm not a huge pro in deboning stuff anyway. If you've got any problems watching or hearing me, right? Because I seem to be lagging a bit from where I'm watching my broadcast, but let me know if there's a problem at your end or whether it's just the internet connection at my end on the computer that I'm watching it from. Like I said, I'm using two different internet services. I'm using like the 4G, 5G service for my live streaming, but as far as watching myself, monitoring the chat and all that, I'm actually hooked up to just a regular ADSL2 connection, and it seems to be a little bit slow today. But let me just hook up that computer to a different network again, just so I don't keep getting that swirly thing. And yeah, say hello in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. And if you don't know me, my name is Jackie M. I am a former restaurant owner. I've been live streaming for a number of years, just not on Twitch. I'm quite new on Twitch, right? But yeah, I used to have a restaurant, gave it up. I ran a Malaysian restaurant called Jackie M, right, here in Sydney, Australia. I was born and raised in Malaysia. But nowadays, I mostly do live streaming stuff. I gave up my restaurant to look after my Down syndrome kid, who's at preschool today, so he's not gonna bother us too much. So this is the raw chicken bones, right, from the chicken I deboned a couple nights ago to make that Marmite chicken, if you watched that broadcast. And to that, I'm going to add some chicken stock. Okay, this isn't just straight out chicken stock. This is essentially like very, very concentrated chicken juice, really. Because what it is, this here, I always have buckets and buckets of this from my business, because even though I gave up my restaurant a few years ago, I still produce food to sell once a week. So I do still have some elements of like my stash and all that are basically from my business. But essentially what I do is every week I buy a lot of chicken that I then cook sous vide style, like they're in vacuum bags that are then kind of like gently poached, and then the chicken's used for this fried noodle dish that I'm that's my specialty. And then the juice from the bag, right, that's leaked out of the chicken, I collect it because it just seems like such a waste to throw out. So that's the Asian in me being very, very cheap. Okay, so I always have that, and then, but it's very, very concentrated, all right, because I keep in mind it's got no water added to it. It's not like boiling bones or something like the chicken bones or something like that to get the stock. This is actually the juice that, is left over from chicken that's been cooked sous vide style. So I'm gonna add some water to this. And essentially, I'm just going to end up with something fairly concentrated as well. But I haven't done this yet in my pressure cooker. This is a new appliance, if you haven't seen it before. If you're just following me for the first time, this is I'll bring it out and show you. Here. This is the Humda service. Thanks for hosting me. Shoot, I've got to move this out of the way. So this is my pressure cooker, my brand new pressure cooker that was sent out to me by a company called Prestige Home Appliances. If you want to find out more about it, go to prestigehomeappliances.com.au. They sent it out to me essentially so I can use it in my broadcasts and also to test it out and review it, right? So that happens as part and parcel of my existence nowadays. I'm just going to move it back because it takes up too much room. But it talks to you. If you're American and you might know of the Instant Pot that's taken over. Welcome to the Optimum Induction Multifunction Pressure Cooker. So you hear that? It says, welcome to the Optimum Induction Multifunction Pressure Cooker. All right. And I'm gonna, like I said, I haven't used it to kind of like pressure cook stock yet, but I'm just gonna try. I wouldn't imagine there will be any problem. So this is just pure chicken and a bit of concentrated chicken stock and some water to top up, right? Meat. Okay, what do I want? White rice, stew, soup. Okay, let's go soup. Soup, start cooking. Okay, so it's going to cook for about, I think 30 minutes it says, and it's going to be pressurized cooking. So let's see how it turns out. If you were just making like regular stock from bones, you would want to cook it for like, for chicken anyway, you want to cook it for like about an hour, hour and a half at least, right? But the pressure cooker should yield the same results in a shorter time. And how is my chat? It's working, yeah. Don't forget to say hello in the chat if you're just joining me now. Let me know where you're watching from. And these are if you can see, these are my Scampi. If you've got any suggestions how to cook Scampi, what to use it for, let me know, because I'm still kind of like figuring it out as I go along. So they are like giant prawns, but like to me, like the downside is like about half of it is in the head, and that's where the head is heavy. So it feels almost as though that you're paying really for prawn, like heavy prawn shell, you know. But I'm thinking I might actually split it up and do a few different things with it. I'm just gonna trim off the feelers. It's got really long feelers. Here. Okay. So I'll just cut off the feelers first, and then I think I'm gonna split it down the middle and keep figuring it out. And then I might fry up some of it and make some chili prawn with some of it. And then I might actually throw some in the air fryer with some garlic or whatever, and see how it all turns out, right? See, it's got these claws here, but the claws are so skinny that you can't yield a lot of meat from it. So if anyone's eaten scampi or cooked scampi and have ideas how to use them, let me know. I'm cutting off a lot of the feelers as well now. I googled scampi recipes earlier, and it's quite strange. Like if you Google scampi recipes, look at what comes up. 90% of the pictures that come up are just regular prawns, what we call prawns, what you call shrimp in the US. So I don't know what's called scampi per se in other parts of the world, but it seems as though in internet land, scampis are just prawns, whereas here in Australia, prawns are prawns, and like these with like the really hard shell, they're like, almost like mini lobsters, and these are labeled scampi at the fish shop. So I've got some cheese as well, so I might actually go a bit fusiony and melt some cheese over it if it looks like it needs some help. But like I said, I'm still trying to figure out how to what to cook this in. But yeah, I'm definitely going with the garlic and butter thingo. And then, like I said, I'll probably do is like like, you know, instead of chili crab, if you know chili crab, I'll do chili scampi or something like that. But like I said, I'm just a little concerned about the, you know, like how little yield there is from one scampi, even though it's big and bulky and heavy. It just feels like all the weight is in the head. And in the claws that seem to have a lot of flesh in it. And with the, by the way, with the soup that I'm pressure cooking as well, I might actually, I'll see how we go for time. I might actually throw some rice in it afterwards, and then actually end up with some congee. And congee is basically like Asian porridge, right? Savory porridge. And I'm gonna throw a few things in there as well, but I just want to cook up the chicken first. You can use like raw rice in it, obviously, but I've got some cooked rice that I want to use up. So if you want to cook congee and you want like a quick and easy congee, and you want to figure out how to use up your leftover rice, congee is a good bet for it. Luck is, hey, when did you get a sub button? Sorry, I haven't been on the computer about 4 weeks. Oh, vacation, lucky you, where'd you go? I know, right? I got a sub button because Twitch decided I was worth partnering because my content is, you know, they wanted some diversity in their content, so there you go. Don't forget to sub. Okay, so there you go. Let's cut it up, right? I don't even know how to devein this. This is quite strong. It's quite strong smelling. I don't think it's as fresh as it could be. Like I said, I bought it on sale, you know, and it's been sitting in my freezer for quite a few weeks as well. So let's see How do I tackle this? Okay. Let's have a look. Is anyone going to TwitchCon 2017? I just got notified about it a couple of days ago. So I've cut this in half down the middle here. I don't know if I should just kind of like break it open a bit, just to make it easy to get at. It's kind of like the blind leading the blind. Any Scampi experts out here, speak up or forever hold your peace, all right? So I'll cut this all the way down the length of it, but I'm gonna leave the shell on, because if I take the shell off, I'm gonna be left with like nothing really. Hang on, just let me get something to put this in. Okay. In all my life of cooking, I've never really had to tackle Scampi before, so it's all new to me. Okay. Let's cut this off. Let me know how my audio sound, guys. Just comment in the chat. If you're watching this anywhere else except on Twitch, Twitch is the only place where I actually can see your chat and your comments, right? So hop over to Twitch, and my URL at Twitch is basically, the short URL is just jackiem.live, L-I-V-E. That will take you to my Twitch channel, and that's where you can chat with me and ask me questions and give me your opinion. So let's just peel this back a little bit. Okay, so it's actually, this is actually quite large, but like I said, I'm gonna keep this the shell on because it'll just fall apart. And you see this bit here, this is up in the head. I like this bit. This is like kind of like the roe to me. So don't scrape out all the yellow stuff, all right? That's the good stuff. This is like quite tough to break up. I'm just like literally cracking it, like cracking its back, like bending it backwards like this. Okay. Just to make it easy to access in a bit. What's everyone doing on the weekend? Got any plans? Who hangs around on Twitch on weekends? Let me know if you do. Because I don't stream on weekends at the moment, but I'm thinking of it. But only if there's actually going to be like people online looking for stuff to watch, looking for people to interact with. Okay, so this one is a little bit different. It's like some black goo here at the back. Alright, so the black goo doesn't look too appetizing. I'm going to scrape it out, I think. But I'm going to leave the yellow stuff on. Ugh. Okay, there you go. And before I go on any further, I'm going to change my gloves first of all, because I've got that black gooey stuff on that. Where's my gloves? Yeah, quick shout out to Lenovo Australia for the laptops that I use for my live streaming and for watching the stream. It's definitely a problem with my ADSL connection. I've got so many Telstra services for my internet. If nothing else, it gives me some, alright, as soon as I say it, it starts playing up again. But yeah, my ADSL connection looked really slow this morning. And now I'm on 2 separate 4G connections. One for my live streaming and one to monitor my live stream from. Okay, so there you go. Alright, I think I'm getting the hang of this now, so just kind of like basically cut it down the middle and then just kind of like gently bend it backwards. That's how I'm doing it. Anyway, I don't know how the pros do it. Okay. So some of the meat, this one is quite pink, unusually enough. So they're all a little bit different. Okay. If you can see it, I don't know if you can tell the difference. The one in this hand is quite pink, and this one is just like not. Okay. And I'm just making a big freaking drizzle all over it. So I hate handling raw. Pressure will be released now. That's my pressure cooker talking to itself. Okay. Bend it backwards like this. Okay. Now I know what to do with Scampi. Like the last time I had it, like I said, it was just too hard to work with. I might have even cooked it whole sort of thing and then tried to peel it, and that was a bit of a no-no because it's so hard to peel with your bare hands. Okay. So yeah, leave the heads intact because that's where a lot of the good stuff is in. It's located. This is like similar to crawfish, huh? It's, you know, when I was in Vegas, the highlight of my Vegas trip was having crawfish at this restaurant run by Asians. That's quite strange. It was delicious too because they use a lot of like spices. So it wasn't just butter or whatever it is. It was like, you know, lots of garlic and like lots of like hot spices and all that. It was really good. And I actually went on Yelp. I actually installed Yelp just so I could give them a 5-star review. And then 6 months later, they changed the restaurant name, so you can't even find it now in Yelp. I don't know why they changed the name. They still sell crawfish, but yeah, I don't know what it's called now. But it was like in an Asian part of Vegas. If anyone ever goes to Vegas, go and look for the Asian part of town and look for this crawfish restaurant run by Vietnamese people. It's like the best thing ever. And when I went there, that only just opened like a couple of months by the looks of it, because they weren't like crazy busy or anything like that. But I think they should be doing much better now, because like I said, the food was fantastic. Alright, I can see the black goo here up the back. You can see it. I'm just gonna, I'll sort it out afterwards. I want to cut them all open first and then maybe use a spoon to spoon out the gunky stuff. Okay, so the yellow stuff, always keep it, right? But there's some black stuff there that I'm gonna try and dig out. So the black stuff is just tucked in, just right at the back behind the yellow stuff. Just let me change my. Valerie, just dropping by to say hi, about to shower, go to the plaza, go to Woolies. Hey, how you doing, Plaza? I was just there. I was just, yeah. Valerie lives like next suburb from me. Funny. Can't stand the thought of having this drizzle sitting over here. Okay, let's try and tackle that black goo. Like I say, if you're new on if you're familiar with Scampi, let me know if you've got any cooking tips for it. So let me tip this out. There you go. You can see it. Getting a spoon to scoop out the stuff here. Okay. Damn, this is hard. Okay, I think I need scissors to cut it out with. Okay, so that's that black lump. It's tucked right up the back. Let's see if you can see it. This bit here. Yeah, Valerine was watching me on Twitch, and then she found out that we lived just a short walk away from each other, and she showed up in one of my live streams earlier this week. It's like she sees me on Twitch, hops in the shower, walks over here and rings my doorbell, and we ended up finishing the live stream together. It's quite funny. Okay, got it. Don't forget to say hi so I can ask you questions if you're one of my regulars, especially. Say hi, tell me where you're watching from, so I know where everyone's tuning in. And if you have any questions about Sydney or about Malaysia, hit me up, especially Malaysian food. Don't ask me about Malaysian politics. I haven't lived there for 33 years, so I'm not in a position to kind of like give a fair, like, you know, critique of like current government policies or whatever. Plus I don't want to get kicked out of the country next time I go over there. Okay, that's that black goo. See some red stuff in there as well. Oops. It's like that black pouch, if you don't dig it out and you break it, it's like an ink sac almost. You get all this black gunk ooze out all over the inside cavity. I hope it doesn't change the flavor or whatever. Oh, food, yeah, food. Kufarendan. Am I reading it right? I need glasses to be able to read the screen sometimes. So, okay, so some dodgy stuff here. I'll pull out. You can see it. Just some black gunk. All right, so there you go. So blind leading the blind with Scampi. I use a lot of prawn. I cook lobster. I cook crab. No problem. Scampi I've never really cooked, right? So let's see how we go. Okay, so there's a fair bit here. Fair bit here. And I think I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to toss some with garlic. I've got some fresh garlic over here. I've got to open it up. My camera must have moved today because I keep pointing to the wrong camera. Need another scissors. Okay, I'm just going to mince the garlic in one of my food processors. So this garlic here is they're peeled garlic cloves, but they're fresh. And you see all the kitchen appliances up the back. The only thing I bought was this Thermomix. Everything else was sent to me for, you know, whether as sponsored stuff, because I do a bit of television, and also I do live cooking demonstrations, and also I do this. So people will send me stuff, but not the Thermomix, unfortunately. This is the Thermomix, and I actually got a Thermomix because the company was interested in talking to me about doing some cooking demonstrations for them, but they wanted me to actually buy one first, and I did, and nothing ever happened. Angela, greeting from regional Victoria. Hey Angela, good to see you. Good to have someone from Australia. Watch. Okay, so I'm just zipping this. I'm just using the Thermomix as a food processor just to mince the garlic. So that's 1 second in the Thermomix, right? I mean, there's a few big chunks there. I'm not going to bother trying to mince it perfectly. You're making the anti-vampire paste. Maybe, you know what? I eat so much garlic. It's amazing that I haven't been banned from places yet. Alright, so garlic. So I think I'm going to toss some of these into this. This actually is an inner compartment. Well, it comes with my air fryer, which was sent out to me also for testing, right? So I think I might throw a couple in here and drizzle it with some ghee, which is clarified butter, and also sprinkle it with some garlic and some seasoning. So does that sound all right? Let's try it. That way I get to try the air fryer and I get to try the flavor as well. I am from Penrith, Jackie. We need that out there for the blood-sucking politicians. You should come over, you know, come over one of these days. If you're in Sydney or anywhere nearby, you're more than welcome to come and join me in one of these, and you get to try my food, you know. Alright, I'm conflicted about using butter or ghee. Butter tends to burn more easily. I happen to have ghee. I think everyone would know what ghee is. Ghee is basically just clarified butter, right? And this is from a leftover from one of the events I did a while back. I bought way too much of it. So it's just as though you were, you know, you had butter and you simmered it till the milk solids settle, right? And you're gonna end up with ghee, but yeah. I can eat food, it's in my natural human instinct. Yeah, good, come over. Penrith, what do you live stream? Are you guys all live streamers yourselves, or? I'm new on Twitch, sorta. I've been here 3.5 months now, so I haven't met most people. Oh, I'm gonna ask who's on what's that thing called? Discord. I don't even know what Discord is, but it sounds to me like some kind of like a community chat room thing, alright? So anyone on Discord, let me know, because I guess I should probably get on it. I've stuck a little bit of ghee on the bottom, just in case it sticks. I'm totally going in blind here, guys. But alright, I've got chicken powder, which is like, in this case, is virtually like using chicken salt, and I've got some white pepper here, right? Okay, so everything looks really... Maybe you're more popular than I am. Lufa Brendan. Lufa Brendan, how long have you been around? Lufa Brendan, where's that come from? Alright, so a bit of a ghee here. Let's throw... My only concern is this thing is not very big, and the scampi is a bit larger than your average prawn. If you can see it, I mean, the lighting's not great. I need to sort out my lighting. Any lighting experts, any audio experts or lighting experts out there, you've got a standing invitation to come and join me so you can help out with my setup. Alright, I'm gonna put 2 in there. Okay, so remember they're split down the middle. Okay, I'm gonna squash some garlic in there. I'll sprinkle some chicken powder in it first. I guess we can just try with 2 and see if it tastes okay. And pepper, because the flavor is quite strong. And let's throw in like a healthy chunk of garlic. Okay, so I'm putting like about nearly a teaspoon of garlic in each, alright? And I'm going to drizzle more ghee over it. Chili flakes maybe? Huh, let's get some chili. Alright, let's throw in a little bit of chili. Okay. I turned 27 in August. Oh, you're just a baby. Okay, so there you go. Oh, so I forgot to wash this. What did I cook the other day? Oh, chicken crackling. So this is my air fryer basket, which I forgot to wash from my last broadcast, but I did some chicken crackling in it. So if ever you have an air fryer, trying to figure out what to use it for, chicken crackling is perfect. And what I did was actually, I mean, that's my difficulty, actually finding chicken skin to be able to do more crackling. I had to buy a whole chicken again today, just so I can skin it and do more crackling. And you know, like, you think that there's a lot of skin on the chicken, but actually there isn't, because when I did it the other day, I only end up with like about 4 pieces of skin, and then of course once it crisps up, it shrinks, right? It shrivels up. And I went to the butcher and I said, "Do you have chicken skin?" No, that's not what do you use it for. So I have to actually pre-order it. So hopefully next week they'll have a couple of kilos of chicken skin for me. But yeah, so I mean, I don't eat pork because I can't stand pork. But chicken crackling is delicious. And that was something I totally just thought up on the on the fly as well. Okay, you plugged in? I plugged in the wrong thing. Okay, 170 degrees for 5 minutes. Alright, let's just start and see how it goes. Yeah, I totally thought it up on the fly because, you know, as part of my business, like I said, I buy a lot of chicken, and there was a week where they had this promotion, a couple of weeks actually, they had this promotion at my supplier where, like, you spend X amount and above, they give you a free whole chicken. So I ended up collecting about three whole chickens. I was thinking like, usually because we're so spoiled here in Australia, when we cook chicken, we buy like chicken fillets, right? And I don't usually do chicken roast sort of thing. So I thought, oh, I'm gonna like cut up the meat. That's why I've got the chicken bones that are in here now that I'm pressure cooking to use as stock, right? Then I had to, you know, and I don't like eating chicken skin as is, you know, so I don't want it in my stir fry. So I ended up thinking, oh, look, let's try it out as a, you know, just kind of like season it with some of that chicken powder, which, like I said, in this instance, you're basically using it like chicken salt, and some pepper. And I threw it in the air fryer. Delicious. You gotta try it one of these days. You could say it's a bit crazy. I only cook vegan food, so do you only cook vegan food because you only eat vegan food, or do you or why? Because I used to do, every Friday was actually vegan Friday for me here on Twitch. That's how I started out. But yeah, I mean, I don't eat vegan food, and I was ending up with a whole bunch of vegan food that I didn't really want to eat, so I gave up on the vegan Friday thing. But plus I had someone who wanted to co-host my Friday stream with me, and she's a vegetarian. She thought it'd be a good idea, and of course she showed up once and never showed up again, even though she keeps saying she wants to come back. So yeah. So more of this. What am I going to do? I'm going to drench some of it with some flour, and I'm going to fry it up. I'm going to deep fry it, and then I'm going to use it to make a chili, like so you're making Singapore chili crab, but I'm going to do it with scampi. All right, so I need oil. What am I going to cook that in? Okay, in here. Okay, there's water in here. It's going to tip it out. SP3, I think it was making crazy pun about what you keep cooking. Nah, for the wife. Alright. Oh, crazy. Alright, as in crayfish. You know what? Is this crayfish? Maybe it's the same thing, right? I'm so lame. Would you ever do Portuguese chicken with a Viet twist? Do you have a recipe for it? I'll definitely try it. Portuguese chicken with a Viet twist. What would the Viet twist be? Bingo. Hey, look, I'm focused on my cooking, alright? Alright, let's get this plugged in. So this is actually a tabletop cooker. I always feel obligated to give shout outs to all these companies when in fact it's not expected, and sometimes it's actually discouraged. It's quite funny. This is Sunbeam here. This is a Sunbeam tabletop cooker, and they gave me a whole bunch of kitchen appliances because I was an ambassador for this event in Darling Harbour a few months ago. And then after that, I thought, oh look, you know, since I do all these live broadcasts, I mean, I did it on Facebook and on YouTube and whatever, and I thought, hey, look, these are the other stuff I do, you know, sort of thing, and I kind of like tag them on social media and tag them in all my live broadcast posts, and then they were just totally silent. And then I find out like months later on from someone who works there that they're not huge fans of people like randomly kind of like giving them shout outs, because they want to really kind of control what ends up on their social media pages, so whatever. Sorry, I'm much more professional than we are. Hey, look, I love it. I love when people are having fun. So I'm just heating this up now. I want to dry this. Is still got some specks of water in there, but I'm just going to grab some oil and start heating it up. Let me just get this out of the way. All right, wait. Okay, so this was 5 minutes in there. It looks a bit dried out, but it's all turned orange now. I've got a feeling it needs to cook longer. Does anybody here stream anything that's not a game? Like, are there any creative streamers here watching at the moment, or you know of any good creative streams? Okay, so this is still raw and practically completely raw still, so I guess it needs probably another 10 minutes really. Let's throw it back in. Okay, so got that. Get the oil. Yeah, being shellfish. All right, so that's the oil. Obviously, it's not fresh oil. Some people get a little bit annoyed with me for using for recycling oil, but whatever. Okay, so that's gonna heat up, and I'm gonna get something for the scampi. So I don't even know like what the difference is between scampi and crayfish. I guess they're quite similar. I think scampi is a lot larger than crayfish. Well, certainly the crayfish I had in America anyway. I'm running out of space already here. Alright, so I want to actually just drench this with some tapioca flour and probably some egg white as well. I've got some spare egg white in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, why not? Bed Gaming is the channel. Fake Went is in the channel. Dude, I love your restaurant in Perth and congrats on your Fake Went. Alright, hello. See, I know nothing about this. Your restaurant in Perth. What's the restaurant called? Fake Went. That's very cool. Hello, hello. Good to good to have fellow restaurateurs on board. And if you live stream, I'm gonna have to check out your live stream. If you don't, I'll talk you into it. Okay, so this is it here. Pepper, I think. He's probably rolling his eyes at how I'm handling the scampi. Because I've never cooked it before. I'm just gonna kind of like kill it with pepper because the flavor is quite... It smells a little bit fishy because, like I said, I don't think it's like in the prime of its freshness, you know. Okay, so I've got some tapioca flour. You can use corn flour as well if you want, but they basically help to absorb some of the moisture in whatever it is that you're going to deep fry, right? I forgot about the egg white. Should I toss the egg white in? Usually I would actually drench it in egg white and then drench it in the flour, but I'm not going to be that sophisticated about it. So I'm just going to pour some egg white over it. And get it coated up. Any more lame seafood puns out there? I'm being shellfish apparently. And somebody's being crazy. that totally went over my head until until someone told me. until doctor's spread told me. Alright, so this has got egg white, and I'm gonna toss more tapioca starch to this. And if you're watching from Sydney, let me know, because we can you can join me in one of these and get to try my food. Alright, so this is heating up. There's actually alright, so that's perfect. The pressure cooker I'm using up the back here doubles as a deep fryer as well, but because it's been used, I'm just doing the deep fry here. Have a few, but they're a bit crabby. I will see what I can think of. Oh, that's pretty good. I can see what this is pretty, I'm gonna have to screenshot these. I should run a competition for best seafood ton, right? How big that's gotten. So I'm not going to overcook this because I want to still simmer it in the sauce that I make for it afterwards, alright? Okay, you can see this? Pretty cool, right? Top 100 world best. That's pretty cool. My soup's nearly done as well. But yeah, I've got a couple of boxes of leftover rice here that I'm going to toss into the soup. I might just do one box, but I've got these I want to show you guys. I hope they're still okay. If you can guess what it is, let me know. Okay, so these can come out. I don't need the oil anymore, I'm just going to get rid of this. need a bigger kitchen and longer benches. All right, so I need for the chili crab, chili, what's it called again? Scampi, chili scampi thing. All right, so this is the garlic scampi, right? Let's see. Let's see if it actually needs cheese over it to kind of like give it some jazz. Angela, Jackie, is yabi and scampi, do they come from the same family? I've eaten yabis. It was cooked in a sambal gravy. I was from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Ah, very cool, right? Yeah. Did you find the yabis were, you know what? That's a good question. I get them all confused. I was getting Balmain bugs confused as well. But yeah, I think one's smaller than the other. And crayfish, I think crayfish is the smaller one. But I think they're all part of the same family. Does anyone know? Or yeah, I keep calling these Yeah, no, these were definitely labeled scampi at the fish shop. Anyone knows the difference between yabi and scampi? Let me know. Okay. You see the pressure cooker says it's pretty much done, so it's just releasing the pressure now. So you're from Kuala Lumpur, Angela. Very cool. Okay. There you go. I'm just going to try a little bit to see if it's worth like replicating this with the rest of my scampi. Yeah, look, if you had it with sambal, it needs more salt in it. I put way too much garlic in it. All I can taste is the garlic at the moment, and not much flavor beyond that. Yeah, I got a bit carried away with the garlic. The garlic still tastes raw, basically. You know what? I should actually roast the garlic first, like pan fry the garlic before I throw it in. What do I think? Nah. I'm just gonna throw 2 more in there. Pepper. I'm gonna put more chicken powder this time. See, if I melted some cheese over it, it sounds nice, right? If I melted some cheese over it. Alright, I'm gonna leave the garlic out, and I'm just gonna cook this like this halfway, and then I'm gonna throw some cheese and grill it up. See how we go. So that's the first lot. So chili scampi, right? I'm gonna use a brown onion and some chili. I don't actually have any like fresh chili left lying around, but I've got, this is actually fresh chili sauce. This is actually ginger chili that I made for my Hainanese chicken rice, if you caught that broadcast from a couple of weeks ago. So I've got some left over here, and I'm gonna throw some of that in and use it for my chili scampi dish. And otherwise you can use like can use chili paste as well. I just don't want to have to go through the trouble of like soaking some dried chilies and blending it into a paste. So I'll just use some of my ginger chili from my Hainanese chicken rice. I'm going to be doing Hainanese chicken rice again in about a week or so. If you missed the last one, I'm doing it because it's my daughter's birthday and she's asked for it. So I'm just going to do it during a live broadcast. And then she's going to come over and eat. So I'm gonna blend this in the food processor. I'm gonna use the thermal mix again, since it's already. I'm gonna be adding the garlic into it. I'll scoop out some of the garlic first. Thanks for following. Yeah, don't be shy about following me, guys. I've only been here 3 months and it's like trying to get people from my other channels, from my other platforms to follow me has just been a nightmare. Anybody who's not already on Twitch doesn't want to know about it. Seems to me anyway. I think it's a demographic thing. So my followers, I think I'm too old to be on Twitch. So, you didn't even cry. Yeah, I was in the bushland camping with family. My mom and aunt decided to cook yabby instead of using the prawns. I do believe scampi is larger than yabby. Yeah, look, these ones are quite large, right? Yeah. So this batch looks half decent. Like I said, they look like little miniature lobsters. I'm just a little concerned that they might not be enough, like, meat in them to make it worth like digging through, but we'll see how we go. There's quite a lot of onion in here, but you know, should I use it all? I'll blend it all anyway, and then I might take some out. All right. But the key ingredient with chili scampi or chili crab, right, is the garlic. You want lots of garlic in it. So let's do this. Practically over pureed. You can see this, and that's the thing you're going to notice with like brown onion, that it's got quite a lot of moisture in it, right? So if you were making a rempah, like if you're Malaysian, Angela would know this, being Malaysian, when you make a curry, you want the curry paste, what we call rempah in Malaysia. You want to saute the curry paste, and the bulk of the curry paste actually is from ingredients like onion and garlic and that sort of stuff, right? But if you're using brown onion, you're going to find there's a lot of like liquid in it. So my trick to kind of like counter the spitting in the oil when you add the oil to saute it is to actually start the sauteing without the oil first, right? So that's my tip of the day, which I've said like for about in every Twitch broadcast since I started pretty much. So that's my garlic. Let's move some of these things. What am I going to use to cook this with? Alright, I think I'm going to use my dinky stove. So this is just a dinky little camping stove over here. And there's just some stoneware Korean wok, right? It's heavy based. It's not suitable for like if you're trying to do a stir fry where you want to generate a lot of like kind of like that charred flavor. This won't be the best wok for it. All right, you want those really thin iron woks you can pick up quite cheaply at Asian grocery stores. But this one is good for like what I'm doing now, which is to kind of like saute spice ingredients and all that. And if anyone wants to buy me a camping stove, I'd love to hear from you. This one here is on its last legs, I think, because it's very weak. Yes, makes sense. Cook out the extra before adding the oil. Aardvark banana. Aardvark banana. Where'd you get your handle name from? Alright, you're gonna hear the sizzle. But yeah, forever, like for the longest time when I used to fry the rumpa, you kind of like have to tolerate all the oil spitting on your hands and all that. But I don't know why I never thought of it when I was running my restaurant. Because I used to fry like, you can imagine a 20-kilo bag of onion. I used to like puree and fry up 20, 40, 60 kilos of onion in a big giant brat pan with like half a drum of oil, and then you just stand there and just shovel it. And I used to have burn marks all up and down my my arms. But yeah, since I started live broadcasting, I was thinking, look, it kind of makes sense to just like not put the oil in first until some of the liquids kind of evaporated. So this is just pure onion here, and usually if you were making like if you were making chili crab, there are a few different versions. There's the sambali version that Angela would be familiar with, but then there's the more Chinese-y version. I mean, if you know anything about Malaysia and Singapore, you'll know that like the countries are quite diverse. Like our food is multicultural. I mean, it sounds like a cliche. Everybody says, you know, Australia's multicultural. Everybody's multicultural, but Malaysian cuisine is, you know, essentially like an early form of fusion food, because the population of Malaysia consists primarily, not exclusively, primarily of like 3 different racial groups: the Malays, the Chinese, and the Indians, right? So there are elements of Chinese cooking, and there are elements of Indian cooking, and there are elements of Malay Indonesian cooking in our cuisine, right? But you'll find that the same dish cooked by you know, people of different ethnicities in Malaysia will have their own kind of like nuances. Say, thinking of like even like chili crab or something like that. If a Malay chef cooks you some chili crab, it will taste more sambali. It'll have like probably a little bit more chili in it. It'll have belacan, like the shrimp paste and that sort of stuff in it. Whereas a Chinese chef, the Chinese tend to be a little bit more subtle in their flavoring, right? The belacan, if you can imagine, the shrimp paste, preserved shrimp paste, right? That's quite pungent. The Chinese will have more of a gingery, garlicky flavor to their chili crab. So I guess I'm kind of like doing more the Chinese version today. So I want garlic in here. I still think I've got too much onion in there, but no, it doesn't matter. So I want a fair bit of garlic, right? And usually, like I said, I would put ginger in it, right? But because I'm using this chili sauce that already has ginger in it, I'm gonna skip the ginger, okay? Okay, so basically this was my chili sauce, ginger chili sauce that I made for Hainanese chicken rice, which is just chili, fresh chilies, plus ginger, plus seasoning, like a pinch of sugar and like some salt, chicken powder, that sort of stuff, all right? Yeah, dictionary when I was much younger. Aardvark banana. Aardvark banana. Aardvark's the first word in the dictionary, is it? Is it still? I don't remember. Okay, so this is like just seasoned with pepper and chicken powder. I'm gonna try and put some 3 cheese blend in here. It's just been sitting in the bottom of my fridge for months now. 3 cheese blend. I don't remember what the 3 cheeses are. What is it? Cheddar, mozzarella, and parmesan. All right, let's try this. It is. Well, it was. Well, exactly. I mean, new words get invented all the time. Aardvark and banana AB. That makes sense. Oh, okay. So any of you guys are active streamers or? Okay, so the cheese goes in. Let's do this for another 5 minutes. So I'm just trying to find new things to use my air fryer for so I can actually justify being sent all these gear by all these different companies, you know. You really should want more chili in here, but I've got my 5-year-old who's probably going to like eating this, so I'm not going to get too heavy-handed with the chili today. But yeah, usually this should look like red, alright? I'm wondering if I should stick some paprika in it. Because I bought some paprika, I've never used paprika before, but I kind of thought that it might actually give me the color that I want. AB works. Alright, AB. Okay, AB. AB for short, or Aardvark banana. Okay, so this is done. I'm just gonna... Wait, okay. Okay, because it was just, I think it was just on keep warm. Let's just open it up. Okay. That's the chicken bones that I had in there with some leftover chicken, concentrated chicken stock plus some water. No seasoning in there at all. Yeah. Let's throw in the rice, right? I want to show you what it looks like. Okay, so there's quite a lot of meat in the chicken still. Okay, I'm gonna fish out the chicken, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna fish out the chicken and then I might try and like peel off some of the meat from it later on. Because I'm so cheap, like we Asians, like we use all parts of the animals. And I'm gonna throw the rice in to make congee with, but I don't think I need all the soup in there. I might take out some of the soup. See, the chicken's just completely like, it's virtually dissolved because of the pressure from the pressure cooker, and this was only cooking for half an hour, which is great if you're in a rush, right? Okay, let's wipe this down. Okay, so these are the bones from the chicken with a little bit of meat hanging off it. This is how much soup I've got. It's about like 1.5 liters in there. I'm gonna take out probably about, if I were using raw, you know what, I'm gonna use raw rice because I'm gonna save this rice I have with this. Speaking of which, I need to add some oil in there in a quick while. So I'm using recycled oil again, alright? Don't freak out. This is the oil that I use to deep fry the scampi with. Just mix it around. Not active streamer. I came to Twitch when I found out there was cooking streams. I'm teaching myself for my wife. Oh, very cool. You should check out my website. That's where all my recipes end up. I'm just running a little bit behind with my recipe write-up, so I'm about a week and a bit behind with the recipes on Twitch, but they do end up at my website, which is just jackiem.com.au. And yeah, just hit me up via email or via message here. If you've got any questions about any of them in particular, I'm more than happy to answer them. I get people even like send me pictures of their groceries to ask me if they're buying the right stuff. So don't worry about like bothering me. All right, let's get rid of some of this this one you want to actually cook till it's like caramelly brown, all right? So this is going to take a little while. Rice. All right, if you're really pedantic, you should really rinse your rice, but you know, I stopped doing that. I stopped doing that when I started running my own restaurant. So you want lots of liquid, right? And you want some rice in it. And let's pressure cook this for 20 minutes, see how it turns out. I put probably about half a cup of rice. Same here in my home. I cut down the spicy. The hubby and son do eat our Asian food only if the spices mellow down. Yeah, I know, right? You know, in all honesty, Noah, my kid, he's 5 years old. He's got Down syndrome, but he actually eats. He's not like, he doesn't freak out when there's chili, and but sometimes if it is too hot, he'll spit it out. But generally, he can handle some chili. I just don't want him to end up spitting it out, you know, so I'm being overly cautious. Rice, I want some ginger in there. Do I have ginger? Okay. I'm going to throw a knob of ginger in there. Just a small little knob, alright, because there's only about half a cup of rice in there, I think. And I want pepper. See how the oil's been completely absorbed. It'll start oozing back out again after a while, and that's when you know it's ready. I might have to add more oil to this because there's quite a lot of onion in there. So pepper, and you can add salt if you want, but I'm a little bit addicted to using chicken powder and everything. I'm not getting paid or recognized even by the company for giving them shout outs, but that's what I use. Okay, let's do this.
Meat, white rice. Stew, soup, porridge. Porridge, stand.
Alright, I stuck it on porridge setting. I don't know if that's the right one. That's 25 minutes. Okay, I forgot to shut the lid. Okay. I was tempted to just set it on the rice cook setting, but let's see how we go. But porridge. Upload. I hope this isn't a dumb question, but what is chicken powder? No, it's not a dumb question. We Asians use it like, you know, in all honesty, it's not generally like, we don't generally shout it from the rooftops. I do because I'm very politically incorrect. But it's virtually like using chicken stock cubes, right? But this is in powder form. It's similar to stock cubes, but the flavor, I think, is more nuanced, it's better. But if you go into a well-stocked Asian grocery store, you should be able to see at least a whole shelf of different types of chicken powders, different brands, and like different kind of like evolutions of it. You know, you might have like Hong Kong style chicken powder, you might have like a supreme chicken powder and whatever, but they're fundamentally the same thing. But it does contain MSG, this particular brand. There are other brands that don't, right? That's why people don't like to advertise that they use this. I do. Is it like bouillon? Yeah, similar. Yeah, similar. It's like using bouillon. But like I said, you know, this one, I tend to find, you know, in all honesty, I don't really use stock cubes for cooking, but I find that their flavor is a little bit stronger. This one is more subtle, in the sense that it's not going to change the flavor of whatever dish you're using. So whether I cook seafood or cook meat or whatever, I use chicken powder. It's not like if I cook beef, I use beef powder. No, I use chicken powder for everything, right? But like I said, this one does contain MSG, but there are other brands out there that don't. I get in trouble for telling people I use this. Like I have been kind of like, because of my area of specialty, I have been paid to speak in public, to do cooking demonstrations in public by, like, you know, Malaysian government bodies, you know, for Australian media or whatever. And I have been pulled aside before and told to stop talking about chicken powder because it just doesn't look very, I guess, because people, the one thing about about cooking is that people like the aspirational aspect of it. You know, they're not just looking to feed a family. They like to think that they're eating healthier. They're, you know, having like a rarefied life, you know, by producing all this beautiful food. But so they might not like necessarily like to hear that you're using all these shortcuts, you know, by throwing in like MSG into your food. So like I said, this should actually brown up, but it's taking a little bit of time. It looks almost green at the moment because of the garlic I've got in there. I've got a fair bit of garlic in there. Let's scrape this down. So the air fryer, both the air fryer and the pressure cooker, they're both from a company, the brand is Optimum. They're both from a company called Prestige Home Appliances. If you're interested in checking out the specs, the website is just prestigehomeappliances.com.au. And like I said, this should actually look red. So like let me just dig out my paprika and see if I can just kind of change it a little bit. There you go, with the cheese on it. That looks pretty good. All right. Okay, so first lot was butter and garlic, or ghee and garlic with no cheese. This is with seasoning and no garlic, but with cheese. And the last one, I think I'm gonna put everything in it. I'm gonna put garlic and I'm gonna put cheese on it. All right. There you go. Who wants some? It's the optimum choice in air fryers, I'd say. I should hire you to write my copy for me. All right, so last lot of Scampi or whatever they're called. I'm pretty sure they're Scampi. All right, so pepper. Chicken powder. Bit of garlic. A little bit of chili maybe. And ghee. And I'll cook it for 10 minutes and then another 5 with the cheese on top. Does that sound right? I could even invent a new dish. Okay. So what's happening with this? You should actually use something that can scrape off the bottom of your, you know, the spatula doesn't quite cut it, alright? So don't do what I just did because it was sticking to the bottom. So I've got some paprika here. Never used it before. I bought it to experiment with some of my recipes, but let's put a little bit more. Because it's always a struggle to generate the kind of color you want to achieve with people that like the heat in that comes with it. What's that pre-cut garlic? Yeah, well actually this is what it looks like. It came in a bag like this and it's peeled garlic cloves, and if you're in Australia you can find these at like usually your local grocery store. They come in 1 kilo bags and that costs anything before. I've seen it priced anywhere between $7 to $10, but it just saves you having to peel them. and I just throw it in the food processor just to mince it up. So I put the paprika in and I haven't really seen any change in the color, so let's just put a little bit more. It could probably have used more ginger, but I just didn't want to have to like bother with it since there was some ginger in the chili that I put in anyway. But yeah, usually you would want a little bit more ginger, but primarily garlic and ginger are going to be the defining flavors in this. And you want some ketchup as well, so let me grab that. People usually like don't expect ketchup in Asian cooking, but you'd be surprised, it shows up in quite a few Malaysian recipes. Okay, so let's throw in some ketchup. Again, like I say, a lot of stuff that I use are in like, you know, commercial or industrial size packs because I still run a business. What little there is left of it. I used to be apart from the restaurant thing, I used to do a lot of farmers markets, and I used to trade at a lot of large events like the Hyde Park Night Noodle Markets here in Sydney. Then when my son came along, Noah, quite a lot changed because of a variety of reasons. I gave up the restaurant because it was getting too hard, and people, like, he was sick in hospital for 7 months when he was first born. So I spent a lot of time in hospital, and I finally gave it up to look after him. But I thought that I'd be able to keep trading at markets, but I ran into some trouble there. No worries. And what I found with a number of events that I've been trading at for many years, like the Hyde Park Night Noodle Markets, they actually changed the rules specifically to prevent me being able to bring my son along with me. Like I said, he started out, like when he came out of the hospital, he was like 7+ months then. But I thought like it would be, I kind of thought that it would be inspirational for other women to see that your life doesn't stop just because, you know, you're now a single mom with a sick kid, right? So I made a point of taking him with me when I sold food at markets, and I ran into some trouble. Like I said, the Hyde Park Night Noodle Market, for instance, changed the rules, so I couldn't even show up at Hyde Park to unload my gear if he was with me, right? So I decided I wouldn't trade there anymore. Okay, so I've got the tomato sauce. I want a little bit more sourness to it, so you could either add lemon juice or tamarind. And I'm going to use tamarind because I don't have lemon juice around. Alright, so this is tamarind concentrate here. You can buy it in a jar, or you can buy tamarind pulp and actually basically simmer in some water and then kind of strain it through a strainer, and that will give you tamarind concentrate, right? This one's done for you. And this is what it looks like. You can find this at Asian grocery stores. This is from Thailand, but different brands of them will come in different concentrations. So I'll just show you what it looks like. Okay, so this one's not that concentrated, but there are others where they'll be like virtually like a paste, okay? So that's to give the sourness. Like I say, you can actually add lemon juice in it. In fact, you know, it's probably more common to use lemon juice in this case. It's just, I just don't use a lot of lemon in my cooking. And you want sugar, right? So there's a bit more sugar than you would expect in a dish for this. And you want some seasoning, and I'm going to use chicken powder again. But if you're averse to using chicken powder, you can just put some salt in here. You can put a dash of soy sauce. I'm going to use fish sauce. You can see the color is still not red because I used so little chili in it. Let me just taste test this. I can taste the chili I can taste enough of the chili for me to not want to add any more to it, but yeah, look, it'll have to look brown, I don't care. So what you want to do is just add a bit of water to this. And I'm going to toss the crayfish. It's not crayfish, it's scampi. I keep forgetting what it's called because, like I said, you know, it's not something I'm used to using. I wish I could smell it from here. AB, oyster sauce is really tasty. Yeah, oyster sauce would work too. You know, in all honesty, like all these different Asian sauces, right? You can like play around with their flavoring, like whatever recipe you're trying to replicate. Don't be fixated on using just what's specified in the recipe, all right? Because you can mix and match and essentially come up with the same kind of flavors. And you'll find that a lot if you Google how to make like a particular Asian dish, it might say say for instance, char kway teow is one of my specialties. Char kway teow is like a fried Malaysian rice noodle dish, right? And the sauce can vary quite greatly. And there are a lot of recipes out there that use oyster sauce. Like in Penang when I was over there, the chef at this particular hotel doing Penang char kway teow, his recipe for char kway teow sauce was just equal amounts of soya sauce. What is it? Is it soy sauce or fish sauce? Soya sauce, oyster sauce, and thick soy or something like that. Thick soy, that sounds like a little bit too much thick soy. But essentially those three sauces. Whereas when I make it, I don't use oyster sauce at all. I use soya sauce, fish sauce, chicken powder, sugar, and thick soy, all right, also known as cooking caramel. So there's no hard and fast rule about like, you know, about what sauces to use in your cooking. You see what I mean about this, the heat in the stove not being that strong. I'm going to throw more of these in. This is like a huge serve. And I'm going to add more water so I can simmer it a little bit better. And then there are all these new sauces that came out like over the last 10 years, like XO sauce and all that, which I never knew growing up. And one thing that's really popular in Malaysia now is salted egg yolk sauce, all right? And that's quite nice as well, but salted eggs are quite expensive here in Australia, so. Okay. Let me just, I'm inclined to just cover it and let it, so that it can cook a little bit faster. Yep, got it. So let's simmer this. You're a wonderful mom, Jackie. I know what it's like to have a special needs child. Thank you for being you. Oh, thanks, Angela. Oh, very cool. Thanks. I actually like made headlines around the world about a year and a half ago. I don't know if you guys, I don't know if Angela, you know about it. But a year and a half ago, one of the markets that I've been trading at, like this farmer's market where I set up a store selling Malaysian food, I've been doing it even before I had my restaurant. That market was my first basically long-term market when I first gave up computers to sell Malaysian food, and I've been there for 14 years, and I was bringing Noah along with me every week. And then I got a phone call on the Thursday, because it's a Saturday market. I got a phone call on the Thursday where this is from the market organizer's employee, right? The market manager for that particular market. She rang up, she said, look, I just want to give you a heads up, but basically it's come to this, that an anonymous member of the public is going to lodge a complaint against you to our office about you bringing your child, and this anonymous member of the public has been going around collecting signatures for a petition to get your son removed, right? Yeah, so because that person chose to remain anonymous, I never knew what their real motivation was, but in the interest of giving them like the benefit of the doubt, Um, I've always maintained that their reasoning is kind of like, it comes from a good place. They see that I've got a disabled kid sitting in a cot, you know, at the market, and they feel that I'm neglecting him, when in fact I'm not, because of his special needs. He doesn't want a lot of stimulation, and people don't understand that. You know, sometimes like you give him toys and he'll throw them out of his cot. He just wants to sit there and just kind of chill out and space out. And you know, if there's a case to be made for discrimination, that's where it comes from, because people are prejudging what he needs and what he wants on the base, you know, they're applying their own judgment on it when they don't know the full story. They see him for 5 seconds at my market stall, you know, while I'm cooking, and they see him kind of like spaced off, and they decide, look, you know, this is a neglectful mom, I'm going to report her for child abuse, and I'm going to collect signatures to get your son removed, sort of thing. So they think, I think fundamentally they think they're coming from a good place, right? But you know, but it's just stupid, because they don't know my situation. They don't know Noah. I'm his mom, you know. I spent all week with him, and Saturday at that market, that was his favorite day of the week. He likes being outdoor. He likes kind of like seeing things, like seeing the world, like, you know, move around him, and seeing like the occasional person come over and say hello, you know. So that was really unfortunate. And what happened was, when I heard about it, I just basically, because it was a Thursday morning and my next market was in less than 2 days, like I get up like 4 a.m. on Saturday to get ready for the market, I thought, oh, I better kind of like post on social media and tell all my followers, look, this coming Saturday is going to be my last day at the market, because this is the situation. And I posted it, and then right away I get a phone call from SBS News. You took a lot better than I would have. I would have burned the market to the ground. So I got a phone call from SBS World News, like that same morning, once they saw my post on social media. And then they showed up at the market that Saturday with their cameras and all that, and was on SBS World News, you know, about... And see, what bothered me about the situation, because I knew, like, having like done that, brought my son along, I can tolerate the occasional kind of like look of disapproval. But what this market manager told me that bothered me was that this person had gone around getting a petition going, and she says that your fellow stallholders around you have decided to support this petition because, she says, on the basis, and I'm quoting her as best I can, exactly how I remember she said it. She says they are supporting this petition on the basis that Noah's presence at the market is affecting their ability to trade, you know. I thought, well, what does that even mean, you know? How is his presence affecting their ability to trade? But then ultimately what did it for me was the fact that, you know, if I don't even have the support of my fellow market stallholders, some of whom I've known for as long as I've been trading at the market, you know, for 14 years, what hope is there for me to kind of like continue doing what I'm doing, you know? So that's why I decided to leave. And then, like I said, you know, on that Saturday, I showed up in the morning, and I'm thinking, which of you bastards actually supported this petition, right? And then SBS World News goes around, interviews all the market stallholders, and apparently all of them said, we didn't even know about this petition. This is the first time we heard of it, you know, there was no such thing. So somebody's lying somewhere. I don't know, right? To this day, I've been trying to get to the bottom. I haven't been able to get to the bottom of like the true story, right? Or the true motivation for whatever it was. But, and then that same night I got a phone call from the Daily Mail and all that. So it went everywhere. It was on all the Australian newspapers. It was in the Daily Mail. I was on the front page of the Daily Mail website, and then the Huffington Post covered the story, right? But fundamentally what it was that people who have experience with disability support felt that it was a disability discrimination issue, all right? I never saw it like that. I saw it as a cultural thing, because I'm Asian and I grew up in Malaysia, you know. First 17 years of my life was in Malaysia. My parents were street food vendors back in Malaysia, you know, and all us kids helped out selling food, you know, growing up as kids. And you go back to Asia, you'll see that, like most families, you know, street vendors and all that will have their kids running around. They have like a happy life. I had a happy childhood, you know, how I remember it. But I kind of felt that it was a cultural issue, that Australians kind of feel that kids should be in childcare, right? So that's how I framed it, and that's how I honestly saw it. But like I said, it got so many people, you know, with experience with special needs, got them so riled up. They started attacking the market on their Facebook page, and they started like threatening to boycott. They started like, you know, just basically bagging the market and all that. And unfortunately, at the time, the owner of the market was overseas, and they said that they had nothing to do with it. They started blaming their employee for calling me to give me the heads up, right? Even though, again, I think she did it out of a good place, right? Regardless of like how wonky her story was about the fact that the other stallholders supported this move to get rid of my son, when in fact that wasn't the case. So they started attacking her, and then of course that didn't go down well with the public. The public was saying, oh, you're throwing your own employee under the bus, you know, sort of thing. Goes to show what kind of people you are. And then the owner of the market was contacting me from overseas, begging me to kind of set the record straight, you know. Said, Jackie, you know, people are threatening to boycott this market. There's 150 stallholders there whose livelihoods are at risk because of this story, you know. So they wanted me to make right. So ultimately, I ended up staying up all night, like for a few days, answering all these people who were posting nasty comments on their website, just saying, look, you know, just explaining, look, the organizers had nothing to do with it. They've always been supportive of me, which is true. They've always like been supportive of me having Noah with me at the market, you know. But it just got really, really messy to the point I actually went back to the market, you know, to show people everything's cool, everything's okay, you know. It's not like I got kicked out by them. It was more them, you know, warning me, and it wasn't even them. It was their employee, and she changed her story a few times as well. That's definitely a discrimination case. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I said, I never saw it as because you know, I know when to play all the right cards. Don't get me wrong. It needs a bit more sugar, a little bit more seasoning as well. But yeah, so yeah, I went back for about 6 months and then I left for good, right? But it just kind of like, that's part of the reason why I do a lot of live streaming nowadays. I'm now down to just one market a week where I still sell food, and that's at a Concord Hospital market, and that's just for lunchtime on Thursdays. But the rest of the time I live stream nowadays. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the employee story changed over the months, and she started saying, "I never told you your fellow stallholders support the petition." I said, "Look, I remember your exact words," and I quoted her, and she said, "I would never." I said, "Look, you even said, you know, I asked you who supported the petition, and you said you couldn't tell me, but you actually then went further and said, you know how it is, Jackie, you know, once they smell blood in the water, they start circling." And she said, you know, 3 months later, she said, "I never said those words. I would never imply that they were like sharks circling the water trying to bring you down. But those were your exact, what, you think I came up with that metaphor? No, it wasn't me. I didn't make it up." But yeah, it got quite nasty. And then a few months ago, it happened again, this time at Concord Hospital Market. This Concord Hospital Market has always kind of prided itself in supporting me, you know, with Noah and all that, right? They know my whole story. They've gone through the whole time when I was pregnant, like heavily pregnant with him, like, you know, loading and unloading the vehicle. Same with this other market, I ended up quitting it, you know. So they've always indicated they were supportive. But there was one day, a few months ago, this woman who happened to be at Concord Hospital for a training course she was doing, like she was a medical professional, but she was attending the hospital just for the day, right? I'm still kind of like trying to adjust the flavors so they actually taste right. And she came up to me and started yelling at me, because Noah again was sitting in his cot at the front, and she yelled at me and she said, "Excuse me, you're cooking over here and you're ignoring your son over there. I'm going to report you for child abuse," right? So I pulled out my camera and I started recording the interaction. And of course she twisted my words. I said, "Look, ma'am, you know, you don't understand." I said, like, you know, again, like I say, it comes from a position where people think, oh, because my son is just kind of like, you know, just staring into space, they assume that he's not getting enough stimulation. But the fact of the matter is, if you've got any like special needs kids, or you've dealt with special needs like carer before, sometimes that's how they want it, you know, that's how they pace their learning. If I give him too much stimulation, which I tried to do with Noah after that whole debacle, and I went back to the market for a few months, I actually hired an extra staff just to keep an eye on him, to take him out for walks, and he used to get irritated. No, I want to just stay in there, you know, he just wants to stay there and just kind of like chill out and soak everything in. He didn't want to go for yet another walk, you know. But people don't understand that. So this woman, I said, look, ma'am, the reason why he's like that is because he's got special needs. And then she accused me of discrimination. She said, how dare you, you know, you're judging your child, you know, you're denying him stimulation just because he's disabled. I said, that's not what I'm saying, you know. So anyway, of course I posted on social media. Okay, this is more like it. Yes, I do remember reading it some time back. Guess what I was saying? I was working as a teacher assistant in a special school while it was an outrage. We had a special who took it very hard. So did I. Now I remember you do. All right. How funny is that? Yeah. So like I said, I'm gonna throw in some egg whites in here. Usually, I mean, if I had whole eggs, I would just crack whole eggs into this. And I've turned off the heat now. Now I'm gonna add the egg white. All right. You don't want to cook the egg white on like a simmering heat. You want to turn off the heat before you add it in, because I'm gonna create this kind of like runny egg sauce. Okay. Again, if you don't have egg white, you can just use whole egg, which is what I usually use. But I'm just trying to get rid of my egg white here. Okay. And now this is not quite hot enough. I might have to simmer it a little bit after all. I want to create like this kind of like a runny egg slurry thing. But yeah, I posted on social media with this woman, this new situation. I got invited to Channel 10 to talk about it. So there's a lot of support out there for, you know, but people don't understand, and that's my frustration, because this all happened in the inner city, Sydney inner city. I think I'm going to use a whole egg for this, because this is not turning out the way I hoped. Yeah, this happened in like the inner west suburbs of Sydney. This is where most people generally recognize. If you live in Sydney, all the social justice warriors are all concentrated in that part of Sydney, you know. They're like clueless do-gooders sort of thing. Okay, I'm gonna get a whole egg and crack it into this. So the color isn't as intense as I would like it. Turn off the heat, crack the egg in. And that's because of the lack of chili in there, right? It just looks like a brown sludge. It's a bit unfortunate. I've had better goes at this, guys. I used to sell this at my restaurant with crab, so let's just toss it in anyway. Hopefully once it's mixed through, it'll look half decent. Okay, I'm gonna add some greens to this, just some chopped up spring onion. Oh, that's funny that Angela, you came across the story. You're putting sugar in there, you're gonna make caramel. Bring your son anyways. What are they gonna do? Call the market police? You know, they said, what they said was that this is the same woman who organizes who was the employee of the market owners. She actually told me, well, Jackie, you know, it's up to you. You want to keep doing it because this person already said that they're in the process of filing paperwork to report you to Child Protective Services. So it's like basically, you know, like I said, this woman who basically gave me the heads up, who started the whole thing rolling. She's always been very nice, but what I have not been able to reconcile to this day is why some of her story changed over the course of like a few weeks and months, right? Because like I said, I was told one thing, and then when SBS came and report on the story, they interviewed her again and they validated her story then, and then 3 months later she swears up and down she never said this or she never said that sort of stuff, you know. So I don't know whether her, you know, her memory was failing her or what, but she ended up leaving her job. So quite a lot of people were affected because of this whole saga, and I don't exactly feel good about it, but you know, I didn't start it, and you know, I was just basically, in all honesty, I'm known to be I am capable of trolling, but I wasn't actually trolling when I reported that story to, you know, on social media. It's not like it's not like I contacted the media and told them, oh look, there's a case of discrimination and whatever, and you cover it. No, they were the ones who came to me. And in fact, when the story came out, and if ever you get covered by the Daily Mail, don't go to their website and read the comments, because the Daily Mail has some of the worst commenters in the world, right? They're just total trolls. You know, they were saying things like, oh well, you know, it's just a publicity stunt. She went to the media, you know, for a bit of publicity. And I actually stayed up till 3 a.m. one night replying to all these comments online, but they weren't approved by the Daily Mail. Daily Mail was vetting the comments, so that frustrated me that I couldn't even give my 2 cents worth on the story, you know. But yeah, I was accused of like doing it for publicity. I was accused of like, you know, entitlement. People were saying, well, I don't get to bring my kid to work, why does she feel entitled, and that sort of stuff. That was just really like completely soul destroying stuff at the time, because this is quite new to me. I was quite, you know, I took it quite hard until someone that I know said, look Jackie, you know, people who know you, you know, so they know you're not like that, so it doesn't matter, you know. People are always going to say stupid stuff who don't know you, and that's how I kind of like, you know. So nowadays people can say whatever the hell they want about me online. I'm just going to like brush it off. So I mean, there are certain courses that I have actually approached the media about, and one of them is that you know, that that sponsors my show that you see in the Nightbot, right? But yeah, how come you stopped having a restaurant? I stopped having the restaurant because my son spent the first 7 months of his life in hospital, and he nearly died 3 times. And when I was in the hospital, I was spending on average about 5 hours a day at the hospital with him, and I delegated a lot of the stuff that I did to my staff, and I started getting a trickle of like complaints. And I mean, it's a little bit of a tall poppy thing as well, because back in the day, this is like, you're thinking about like, you know, 5 years ago now, Malaysian food, I mean, to some extent, you know, without getting ahead of myself here, to some extent, I'm still kind of like recognized as the most well-known face in the Malaysian food scene here in Australia, right? So I do tend to get targeted, you know, by the tall poppy syndrome brigade, right? I'll just say, oh well, she's overrated. I've had even other Malaysian restaurant owners actually say, oh, you know, she's only popular because she's famous. I was thinking like what did you think came first? It's not like I was famous. It's not like I was a celebrity and I decided to open a restaurant, you know. I opened a restaurant and then kind of like built up my reputation from that. So there were people who were saying, oh, food is overrated and all that. I think it kind of like coincided with the time I was spending less time at the restaurant. So I actually, when Noah came out of the hospital and I got it kind of coincided with a couple of like strongly worded complaints that were emailed to me directly, right? You know, some woman said, oh, you know, your rojak, this and that sort of stuff, you know. I can do better rojak than this, you know, I wouldn't pay $15 for it, sort of stuff. So, and every time someone complains, right away, I give them their full money back. I don't say, okay, well, you know, you're wrong there. And in fact, she was wrong, because I had the rojak. She claimed that one of the ingredients in the rojak that she had was, rojak is kind of like a Malaysian salad. She claimed that one of the ingredients tasted off. And the funny thing was, I distinctly remembered her order, because my staff made a bigger batch of it and gave me some of it to eat, and it tasted fine, right? So it's a matter of opinion, but I refunded her money. But I figured like from that point on, I basically said, I don't know if you realize, but I've had a very sick child, nearly died 3 times in the hospital, but he's out now. He just came out, but you know, for what it's worth, this is my situation, and I'm sorry you had a bad experience in my restaurant. So I wrote a blog post. I told everyone, I said, look, I understand, right? You guys, you know, because at the time I used to keep things quite private, right? I didn't share a lot about my story online. I said, look, I get it, you know, things, you know, some corners may have been cut and whatever in my absence at the restaurant. But the fact of the matter is, moving forward, okay. You see how much of the water has been absorbed? I'm going to add more. I'm going to add the rest of the soup, the stock back in here, because I want it to be a porridgey consistency. Just mix this in. I don't need to cook it anymore because the rice is cooked through completely. But kind of, this is like Asian congee. If you want more liquid, you can add more to it as well. So I'm just going to add some more water to this. And you can cook it till it's a little bit more soft as well. It's up to you entirely. But yeah, you can do this with raw rice, or you can do it with cooked rice if you're trying to get rid of cooked rice and you don't want to use you don't want to do a fried rice. Okay, so it needs more seasoning because of the extra water. But yeah, I put out a blog post where I basically declared from now on, if I'm not able to personally be in the kitchen at my restaurant, I'm going to close for the day, all right? That's how hands-on I'm going to be. That's my commitment to you, my customers. And then one day after I posted that blog post, 2 guys walked into my restaurant, completely oblivious to my backstory and whatever. And they offered me money to take over the space. You know, they really, really, really wanted my space. And there I was thinking that as soon as the lease ran out on my restaurant, I'm out of here, you know. I'll just kind of like stick with it till the lease ran out and then I'll just disappear. But in the meantime, you know, to respect my customers, I'm not going to delegate everything to my staff. I'm going to be there personally cooking and running the whole place. And if I can't because of Noah's situation, then it'll just be shut for the day. And like I said, 2 guys walked in, offered me a bunch of money for it, and I said, okay. So I moved out. Jackie, give yourself a pat on the back. Noah, and you are doing well. For that lady, obviously, who doesn't know what compassion is, it's okay. You're a great mom, and Noah's so lucky to have you. That's really sad. A lot of Daily Mail commenters are the elderly. Are the elderly, you think? Don't take too to it, they're just terrible people. This one, mommy, hello, how you doing? That's funny, that's a discriminate, that's an ageist. I kind of thought that a lot of them were trolls, you know, but yeah, I had people like the Huffington Post German edition covered the story, and I know enough German to understand the comments, but I don't know enough to kind of like retort back, you know, with some smart aleck reply. So I was replying to these German commenters in English. It was kind of awkward. But yeah, no, it was yeah, it's quite a sad situation. But now, like I said, you know, I'm kind of happy just live streaming 3 days a week. I might even do more, you know, but you can't really. One thing I'm struggling with my live streaming at the moment, because you know I've been doing live streaming for about 5 years now, like I said. But I get sent all these gadgets, but you know I can't really pay rent with gadgets. So that's the scampi with the garlic and the cheese, okay? So let's dish it out. So that's the only thing, but technically, because of my situation now, I'm a full-time carer for no one in reality. It's just, yeah. That's why people always associate me with food, and I say I can't, you know, I don't have a restaurant anymore. So I get, say, like on a, last week, early in the week, someone message me and say, hey, you know, I've got a party this coming Saturday, you think you can cater for it? No, I can't, you know, because I don't have a kitchen, first of all. I don't have a restaurant, but I can tell my staff, okay, we need like 100 sticks of sardine, we need a couple of serves of that to deliver to this woman's house. I just can't do it anymore. If I were to do it properly, I said, look, if you want me to do it, I can come to your house and cook at your place, but that will be contingent on me bringing my son Noah with me, and also, like, you know, you have to pay through the nose, because I've never shortchanged my staff, and that's the one thing that a lot of Asian restaurants get away with. They shortchange their staff, right? I've always, like, you can ask anyone, because I've had so many people work for me over the years. by virtue of the the fact that there's a big turnover, and a lot of people are like overseas students, are only allowed to work 20-hour weeks and whatever. I've fired staff. I've had like big fights with them, but you ask any of them, they will never say that I shafted them on their wages or anything like that. In fact, I was like, if anything, I was overly generous. My grandparents are like that. They don't use the internet, but they complain about everything. They like send complaints about customer service all the time and stuff. It's so embarrassing. I know, it's like yeah, I know. There's a certain like group of people who just like to complain. Yeah, it sounded, the people who were complaining about my food at the time were, like I said, they just sounded like yeah, grumpy old people. But yeah, as far as the story in the news and all that, right? Yeah, so it was in the New Idea magazine, which is the second biggest selling magazine in Australia. But people, I always tell them, look, don't make it out to be like some sort of a victim story. I'm very conscious of my image, insofar as I don't want to be portrayed as like a professional victim, And then when the second time when it happened the second time, I told them as well, like there was a group of women who got so upset about this happening to me yet again, because like I said, of what I've told, the one that really blew up was the one that happened at Orange Grove Market, where the news came with the cameras and all that and whatever. But it had happened before progressively. I had slowly been kind of like squeezed out of markets because people felt that, my kid being there was inconvenient for whatever reason, or was an occupational health and safety issue or whatever. So I had been kind of like squeezed out progressively, even before that happened. But there was this group of women called the Inner West Moms, right? When that whole thing happened again with the woman at the hospital who threatened to report me for child abuse because I brought my son with me, they got so upset about it that they approached me about doing a fundraiser. They said, look, we want to just kind of like have a little campaign to kind of chip in some money to send you and Noah on vacation. I was thinking, oh, this is so awkward, people. I hate, what I really hate are people who start GoFundMe campaigns for really trivial reasons, so I said, I certainly don't want to like do that. But they say, look, give us a chance to help, give us a chance to just show that not all of us Inner West people are like that, because like I said, it seemed to be concentrated, all these complaints seem to be concentrated from that particular part of Sydney, So in the end, they started a fundraiser, and within less than 24 hours, within 17 hours, they already exceeded their target. And they used their money, I mean, they weren't asking for huge amounts. And they basically just say, the woman who started it just basically said, look, this is the situation with Jackie, and this is our way, this Facebook group of women, this is just our way to show that, we're not all like mean people like trying to force like single moms with special needs kids, out of the workforce. So yeah, they did that, and then they dips. Oh, thanks for hosting. Yeah, they did that, and then they used the money to kind of like, it so happened the woman who started the fundraiser is actually has connections with the CEO of Carnival Cruises. So she used the money, and then she approached Carnival Cruises and say, hey, can you send Jackie and her son Noah on the cruise? So they did, and that was it. And we went to the Pacific Islands on a 10-day cruise, so that was pretty cool of them. But yeah, that's the story of my last couple of years. Like I said, I am capable of trolling, I am capable of approaching the media. I went to the Dr. Phil show about a different story, and I was invited to go on the Dr. Phil show a couple of months ago. But that was contingent on the object of my of my story agreeing to appear on the show with me, and he wouldn't. So, but so I do know how to kind of like pitch stories and whatever. But I certainly did not do that with regards to Noah. I didn't want to be seen as a victim. I told them very strongly, look, I don't want to be. Even if you read the New Idea story about the situation. I made them put in that quote, I'm not a victim, I just want to actually tell people this is the situation, and like, it may come from a good place, but ultimately you are, however you want to like twist it, right? Whether you mean it for my son's welfare. However you twist it, you're ultimately discriminating against him because you're prejudging, like you're imposing your own judgment of what you know, what it means to have a quality of life. You know, you don't realize I spent 6 days of the week with him full time at home. This is before he started childcare and before he started preschool. I spent 6 days at home with him, and 1 day a week I take him to the market with him. You know, you scream blue murder and you think I should be staying at home with him because I'm neglecting him at the market. It's bullshit, you know. Sorry. See, Keller, thanks for following. But yeah, so a lot of drama in my life. I'm not even a dramatic person. So I don't, yeah. This tastes really good, but it doesn't look good, does it? It looks a little bit sad. I think because I used too much onion in the puree, right? So you can't really see the runny egg sauce. But this is supposed to be like the runny egg sauce, chili crab thing, guys. So don't hold it against me that it looks a bit lame. But let's dish up the rest of the scampi. I'm gonna get a long plate. If there's any particular recipes you want, you know, one thing I was actually about to do today until I accidentally frosted the scampi, I had thought of actually taco banis butt. Thanks for following. Yeah, I was actually gonna be making Japanese udon noodles today, and then I thought, oh, I think I've got some crab in the fridge, and I dug around and I thought that was the crab, and it was actually the scampi. So I thought I better do something with the scampi. But yeah, if there's anything in particular you want to watch or want to learn to cook, let me know. This one, mummy. But if you know us, so lucky to have each other, Jackie. You're an amazing woman. Oh, thank you. Taco Bane was taken. Taco Bane is but what's Taco Bane? Am I saying it right? Taco Bane or Taco Bane? Look, the way I see it is, look, we're all damaged. We're all broken people, you know. I mean, there is a reason why I'm twice divorced, you know. It's not because I was you know. So we all make mistakes, but we tried our best to do what we can. When I was pregnant with Noah, Tarun MKJ, thanks for following. When I was pregnant with Noah, there was a lot of pressure for me to terminate, you know, on the basis that, well, first of all, my husband had just I basically kicked out my husband. Well, I thought it was temporary. I kicked him out and he never came back. And then I found out I was pregnant. But there was a lot of pressure for me to terminate on the basis that Noah, they detected that he most likely was going to be special needs, right? People don't hear the side of the whole, like, you know, prenatal care situation, but there's a lot of subtle and not so subtle pressure for you to terminate. They make it very, very easy for you to terminate, right? And then when he was born and he was very sick, there was a lot of pressure for me to actually withhold treatment and let him, the way they see it, let him kind of like die peacefully, right? So that's why when he finally made it, I thought, oh, this will be perfect for me to show other women. Because I kept telling myself in the hospital, I kept telling myself, look, if he came out of this alive, I want this to be an example to other women, right? Regardless of where you stand on the whole, like, you know, quality of life debate and whatever. At least they can see that there is life at the end of the tunnel, right? Because people don't see that. I was told specifically, I was sat down at about the 6-week mark when he, again, like I said, he'd come close to dying a number of times. At the 6-week mark in the ICU, I was sat down and told, look, most parents with babies in the ICU, they start questioning everything at about the 6 to 8 week mark, let's say. They start to think, oh, we really need to get our life back in order. We can't be doing this forever where we're sitting by his bed wondering what's next, you know. And they see all the bruises on their arms and they're thinking like, you know, is it worth putting your kid through all this suffering for more blood tests and whatever? So they start questioning whether to actually basically pull the plug, you know. And I said, no, it's not going to happen with me. I said, you throw whatever you need at him, you know, and just keep going. And then at the 3-month mark, this other doctor sat me down and basically said, look, you're not getting any younger. Even if he makes it out alive of this heart surgery, he's going to be a vegetable the rest of his life. Who's going to look after him, you know? Where's the quality of life, you know? He's comfortable now. And I was told actually to get ready to find someone, because I was alone in the hospital, right? I was told to find someone. He said, you really need to find someone to be with you for when he dies, you know, find someone to videotape the occasion so that you have something with some keepsake. This still thing, thanks for following. So it sounded quite morbid at that point, and they were like saying, oh, look, and then they'll say, oh, I've got a photographer who's doing it as a kind of like a charity, but he's willing to take photos of you and your baby, you know. They'll pull all the tapes off his face, you know, and bring an oxygen tank with him out into the courtyard so he can take some photos, so you've got something to keep, you know. So yeah, it was pretty, I kind of thought, like I said, you know, when he came out of the hospital, it at least, you know, if nothing else, it will kind of like give people an insight into how your life doesn't end, you know. You can still thrive, but it's still a work in progress. Hello, this still thing from Germany. Everyone's made of different stuff. Oh yeah, I reckon. Thanks, Dibs. I'm pretty tough about everything else, but Noah still makes me crack up every now and then. There was one time I got pulled over by the cops because of his child restraint wasn't in properly, you know. And the cop, this is a traffic cop, and he said, oh, it's very convenient that you're probably strapped in, you know, so like you take care of yourself, but you ignored your son. I told him F off. And one way to really rile me up is to tell me that I'm a neglectful parent, you know. But anyway. Sorry guys, I never cry on air. Anyway, so there you go. That's the porridge. That's the congee. Okay. And that's how you use up leftover rice. Basically just add like lots of water to your rice cooker or whatever you cook your rice in. And then add the seasoning and whatever. I forgot to put the eggs in, but you can if you want. I've got these preserved eggs, right? These they're called like they're called 1,000-year egg or 10,000-year eggs or whatever, but they're black, and you can cut them, dice them up, and then simmer them with this. It just kind of adds really unusual flavor to your porridge. But otherwise, you can add seafood, you can add like chicken shreds in it or whatever. So essentially, it's just like really runny rice essentially. And I use chicken stock because I had some chicken stock, but you can just add water and then add some chicken powder or chicken seasoning into it and all that, right? And if you want, you can crack an egg into it and just stir it around. That will give you that kind of like runny egg effect in your porridge. So that's all that rice is actually from like about half a cup of rice. Can you imagine? So you can actually stretch your food quite well. And this is good for baby food as well, for what it's worth. I don't want to sound rude, mate, but some people are mother. Thank you so much, everyone. Like I don't mean to go all emotional about this. I don't know how we got started on the whole topic of Noah. Okay, so there you go. That's kind of like the chili crab, but using scampi. And this is my leftover scampi. There's more here. And we played around with the recipes a little bit. So this was just basically grilled scampi cooked in the air fryer with some butter and some garlic and some seasoning, right? Pretty simple. And then I got carried away and stuck cheese over them and grilled them over with the cheese, which I think is quite nice. It doesn't look particularly nice. Thank you so much, guys, for following along. I'm really embarrassed for breaking down. I'm gonna have to delete this video. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you. Yeah, I'll see you next time. I'm thinking about doing. Like I said, I'm thinking of streaming on weekends. I don't know if anyone actually hangs around on weekends to watch live streams, but we'll see how we go. But if you're interested, let me know. Thanks again. I'll catch you guys. Ciao.